right, so that's the first 8 bars. Now let's work on the next 8. Let's bring the kick in and see what happens. All right, that's kind of dope. This kick and this 808 aren't really working together, so I want to actually replace the kick. The easiest way I've found to do that is with this Slate trigger. Where is it? Steven Slate trigger. And then we can just trigger something else. I mean, this plugin is geared towards live drums, but you can actually use it with any kind of samples. So I find it really easy to just keep my favorite samples in there. Let's try this Dez kick. And that's triggering way too much, so we gotta turn off the retrigger. This triggering isn't really working right. Let me hear the kick without it. See, it's all that low end on the kick. I think we can just take some of this out and then see if that'll trigger it better. Hear how that's just like the snap of the kick? We might actually even keep that in. Let's hear how that's hitting the trigger. See, that's a much more like defined transient, which is what the trigger plugin needs to trigger the sound replaced sound. As you can see, the level is much lower, so we've got to bring our detail back down. All right, so our triggering is perfect. I'm not sure if this sound's gonna work. Let me actually turn it up so I can hear it. It's still a little long and subby. I want something that's more like punchy because we have that long 808 kick, and that's gonna really carry the subwoofer. So we need something to punch it through so you can really hear those kicks knock. Let's try this 10-minute kick. That's pretty solid. This is a classic kick sample that I use a lot. Let's see. That's great. Now actually let's duplicate this without the trigger and then keep the top end from that other kick and see what happens. Still needs a little more punch. I'm just gonna sound design this kick, and we'll do like we did last time, and combine everything into one track, so it's simple. That Lex Luger kick is solid. Let's try that one. I'm actually going to just drop this into my trigger folder. Let's see, where is it? All right, so yeah, so I just have a trigger folder that has all of my samples in there, and I just copy stuff that I like into it. And then I can go to the trigger browser, we'll refresh that, and then we can drop this in, and now this is triggering on that track as well. And we can actually commit our kick. Is this what I want to do? Yeah. We'll commit our kick. All right, so now we have our kick. And then we can just normalize this and add that into the trigger folder as well. Okay, so let's go here. We'll go to Audio Suite, normalize, and then we're going to rename this Shift Command R. This is going to be TIA kick. Then we're going to export that to our, let's see, samples, trigger. All right, so now we have that in the trigger folder. We can delete this. Then we'll load trigger back up. Refresh. And we have the TIA kick. What I love about this is you can actually tune the individual samples as well, so we can get everything solid in tune. I think ours is a little sharp. And you can hear there the 10-minute kick was out of phase with the Lex kick. So let's try our TIA kick and see if that's in phase. It's weird, it's like a partial, slightly, it's not quite exactly on in phase. Let's just leave it with those two for now. That's sounding pretty good. And then we can add some dirt to it. Let's see, what do we have that's good? Let's try. I mean, one of my favorites is the thermionic culture vulture. You can hear already that just makes it slam way harder. Let's hear that with the 808.